Welcome to Just a Minute. Thank you. Hello, my name is Nicholas Parsons, and as the minute waltz fades away, once more it's my huge pleasure to welcome our many listeners, not only in this country, but throughout the world, but also to welcome to the program four exciting, talented and attractive players of the game. And a huge pleasure as always to welcome back that outstanding comedian and fine player of this game, Paul Merton. And seated beside him, we have a fine broadcaster and a skilled actor, Charles Collingwood. And seated on my left, we have that outstanding and impish comedian and brilliant presenter, Graham Norton. And seated beside Graham, we welcome back that incredibly attractive and lovely comedian, Shappi Khorsandi. Would you please welcome all four of them? Beside me sits Sarah Sharp, who's going to help me with the score. She'll blow a whistle when the 60 seconds have elapsed. And this particular edition of Just a Minute is coming from the Radio Theatre, which is in the heart of Broadcasting House, that elegant building in West 1 area of London. So let's get the show started. And we'll begin once again. And who better? Paul Merton. Paul, the subject here is losing your marbles. Tell us something about that subject in this game, starting now.
Well, some people might think it's already happened to me. When it does happen, I'm sure...
Charles, a challenge.
Repetition of happen?
Yes, it was...
No, happened and happened.
He did say happen and happened.
Yeah.
It's quite so true. Right, you keep the subject and still losing your marbles, and there are 56 seconds starting now.
Perhaps losing my marbles won't be so bad. I look forward to a gentle decline into a land of whimsy, where I no longer remember to wear my clothes when I go out. There's somebody trying to take my photograph in the front row. And I said to the man, when I lost my marbles, where are they? This is the Lost Property Office here at Paddington.
Graham, challenge.
Repetition of lost.
Yes, it's losing your marbles.
Oh, yes, yes.
Well, listen.
Yes,
Yes! Oh, there's great one-upmanship in this show. So, Graham, you have a correct challenge. You get a point for that, of course. You have 39 seconds. It's losing your marbles starting now.
A friend of mine went for a job interview and then discovered they hadn't got the appointment. She sent a box of marbles to the company with a note inside that said, "You appear to have lost these." I admired her kind of confidence and chutzpah, but if you're unemployed, I thought foolish to spend money on posting marbles because they're quite heavy and expensive. And of course, the Royal Mail could lose them as well. And thus, they've been lost twice. Have I said that? I don't know. Anyway, losing your marbles.
Charles,
it's a
yes,
jolly...
He did actually say lose twice. And
That's
it's
right, yes,
losing.
he did. That's right, lose. That's
Rather
right,
like
yes,
he said
yes,
lost
right.
with Paul.
Yeah, it can happen.
It's only fair.
Yeah.
It's the Achilles heel, I think, of this topic, those two words. It's tragic.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Shappi. Yes, you're
Shappi,
right.
you were very quiet then. What did you say then?
All I was saying is that it's a little bit difficult, isn't it?
Oh, well, that was very nice. I don't know what on earth you were talking about, but it was... Charles, you had a correct challenge. You've got 10 seconds left. Losing your marbles starting now.
Losing one's marbles is a terrible thing to happen to somebody as you get older, because it might mean that your brain is no longer as active as you hoped it would be.
In this game, whoever is speaking when the whistle goes gains an extra point. On this occasion, it was Charles Collingwood, so he has 2 points at the end of that round. All others have 1 point each. And, Shappi, we'd like you to take the next round. And the subject now is my pain threshold. Tell us something about that subject in this game, if you can, starting now.
My pain threshold isn't as high as I need it to be because I bump into things a lot, mostly because people leave stuff in my way, like doors and walls and furniture and sometimes trees. This is problematic for me, and just last week my pain was so bad that I had to go to hospital because I did walk into an obstacle that was an integral part of my building.
Paul, challenge.
Hesitation.
There was a hesitation.
Do you know, not only did I hesitate, I actually just stopped completely. I mean, that was a full stop, take a breath, have a think, have a cigarette, and I don't even smoke. I'm sorry.
Paul, you have another correct challenge, and there are 31 seconds available. Will you tell us something about my pain threshold starting now?
My pain threshold is remarkably low. If I was to be working for the army in the course of a war, I would immediately give more than my name, rank and serial number. I would spill the beans on every single topic I could think of, as long as they stopped prodding me with that cushion. My low pain threshold has held me back in show business. I could have been the...
Graham challenged.
Repetition of low.
And it was a repetition of low. So, Graham, well listened. There are 13 seconds still available. Will you tell us something about my pain threshold in this game starting now?
My pain threshold is incredibly high. I remember once when I was marooned on a desert island with our host, Nicholas Parsons. I was barely conscious and couldn't move. He used my naked body as a piece of... I'm so sorry the whistle went then.
You knew the whistle was about to go, and you built up to that moment, so you left it all hanging to let them know. And they enjoyed it. Wicked, naughty, outrageous audience. Graham, you were speaking as the whistle went, so you gained that extra point. You're now in the lead, one ahead of all the others. Paul, we're back with you to begin, and we'd like you to take the subject of voiceovers. And there are 60 seconds as usual, starting now.
I don't do many voiceovers, but I did perhaps perform one the other day for Radio 4 that's going to go out in the cinema. And I happened to be in a recording studio with the man whose voice is like that. And we did a sketch together, and I think it was particularly amusing. We focused on the early years of Nicholas Parsons. We talked about how this marvellous entertainer has been seen throughout these years.
Shappi, you managed to get in first.
Did I get in?
Yes. You're right.
Have I won the
First
game?
of all, tell me what your challenge was.
Oh, my challenge was hesitation.
Yes, that's right.
And,
36 seconds for you, Shappi. Voiceovers starting now.
I've...
Graham challenge.
I just thought it'd be funny.
And it was fun. They got a laugh. And you've given her a point, so everybody's happy. So there are now 35 seconds on voiceovers with you, Shappi, starting now.
I wondered if it'd be funny twice.
It was even funnier twice, so give Paul a bonus point, right? And
May I continue?
No, darling, don't. You're building up your points, don't worry.
Oh, I see.
You've got another one. You've got another point there. And there are 33 seconds. The voiceover starting now.
I always wanted to be a voiceover artist, and I went to an agent who specialises in getting not education, employment.
Charles.
That was a hesitation.
That was a hesitation. Charles, you have another point. You have 26 seconds. You tell us something about voiceovers starting now.
I was asked to do a voiceover once. I walked into the studio and the producer said we wanted Donald Sinden. I had...
Shappi, 20 seconds. Voiceovers with you starting now.
I was told that my voice is far too ordinary to be a voiceover artist, so I said, what about when I talk like...
Paul, challenge.
A repetition of artist.
Yes, artist.
Yes.
That's right. Well, listen, Paul, 13 seconds still available. Tell us something about voiceovers, starting now.
Wilson's Biscuits. The finest biscuit money can...
I don't think that was right.
No, it was. You said biscuit and biscuits.
He did.
9 seconds still available, Paul. Voiceovers starting now.
Advertising pays great money for the people who can do voiceover.
Shappi, challenge.
Did he hesitate slightly?
Slightly, but...
It's a little tiny... Shall I let that go? I'm sorry.
You have to leave a gap between words, otherwise...
He was, Shappi, speaking slower than he normally does.
I've not been well.
But he didn't...
Punished for my illness. That's nice, isn't it?
So he still has another point, keeps the subject. 5 seconds. Voiceovers, Paul, starting now.
Bill Mitchell was a voice-over man in the 1970s, and he had that deep brown...
Well, at the end of that round, Paul Merton was again speaking as a whistle went, gained that extra point for doing so. He's increased his lead. He's almost twice as many points as Shappi Khorsandi, who's in second place with Charles Collingwood, and Graham's just 1 point behind them. And, Shappi, it's your turn to begin. Here's a subject that you might have some fun with. older men. Tell us something about that subject in this game, starting now.
Well, I wonder why I've been given this subject. It's a subject very close to my heart. I've always loved older men, particularly if they sit to my right on radio panel shows. Now I'm just checking if that is the correct side of me, and it is, because I'm very dyslexic. I don't know that one side from... that's just wrong. I hate myself. I'm sorry.
Right, Graham, new challenge.
Repetition of sides.
You were getting your sides muddled up, darling. So, Graham, a correct challenge, and you have 41 seconds. Tell us something about older men, starting now.
It is distressing when you get a subject like older men and realize that now I've become one of them. Because in the past, obviously like everyone else, I was younger. I think that's fair. We can say that about everyone on the panel. Paul wasn't always this old, nor you, Nicholas, indeed. You were a boy once and skipped blithely round fields in some country part of the...
Paul, challenge.
They didn't have fields when Nicholas was a boy.
Paul, we've always had fields. In fact, there were more fields when I was young than there are now.
Really?
So many of them been built on.
You told me the other day you remembered before the horse. Before we had horses.
But there were still lots of fields.
Before we had horses, that was.
There were still lots of fields, even when there were lots of horses, and before the horses. Really? But we loved your interruption, so we give Paul a bonus point for that. But Graham was interrupted, so he gets a point for being interrupted.
Yes.
And you keep the subject.
I do.
Yes. You obviously don't like older men. I don't mean you don't have the subject. And there are 15 seconds available, starting now.
Older men like talking about the past, I've noticed. A time before horses and fields. When even blazers...
Shappi, challenge.
He said fields before. You said fields before.
I might have.
Blithely around fields, because I remember
That's right,
blithely.
Yes,
because that's a word I don't often
blithely,
use.
yes.
And then I remember you said some other words after blithely.
It might have been around a field, though, mightn't it, Shappi? Mightn't it?
No, it was fields. No, it was blithely round fields.
Around
All right,
fields. Yeah.
Right. Well, listen, Shappi. You have 6 seconds to keep going on older men, starting now.
6 seconds, probably long enough. Anyway.
I think they enjoyed what you said, Graham, so we give you a bonus point for that. But Shappi was again interrupted, so she gets another point. And there are 4 seconds this time, Shappi. Older men, starting now.
See, it's hard to talk about older men without talking about sexy stuff.
Charles, challenge.
Well, she'd said without earlier.
Oh, well, now.
Sorry, I'm bringing my sort of intellectual brain into this, but I had heard her say without.
I've never said without before in my life.
In your life? No, she didn't. Well, if you've not said in your life, I can't apologise enough. I mean,
the pronunciation was very good.
Yeah.
It's very good, wasn't it?
I'm very sorry, Nicholas.
No, don't apologise to me. I mean, Shappi's got another point.
Quite right.
And she's got 1 second of the subject.
I'm ashamed.
You ready, Shappi?
I am.
1 second. Older men, starting now.
The thing about older men...
I must tell the listeners, Shappi did actually pause then completely, but the trouble was the silly girl taking a drink of water just before she started, and she suddenly got a hiccup in her throat. Shappi, you kept going till the whistle went, with a little assistance from others, and you actually get another point for speaking as the whistle went. Well, you weren't actually speaking as the whistle went, but you were speaking when the whistle should have gone. But you are now in second place.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
Just behind Paul Merton, but ahead of Charles Collingwood and Graham Norton. And Charles, we're back with you. Hair loss. I don't know where it's... The humour here that's going on now is because people are looking at Charles's head. Anyway, that's the subject, Charles. Talk about it. 60 seconds, starting now.
Every day I get up in the morning, look in the mirror to check if I've lost any more hair than I had the day before. When my children were very young, they used to call me Baldilocks and the...
Graham, challenge.
A sort of hesitation I felt.
No, I think...
It was the gag.
No, I think it was speaking through it. Somehow I think the sense came out all right. So, benefit of the doubt, Charles.
I think you're really sharp tonight, Nicholas. You're spot on. Boy, you're
I
in
give
my
benefit
team.
of the doubts on occasion, and I always try and redress the balance later if it's possible. So, Charles, you keep going with 48 seconds. Hair loss starting now.
The kids called me Spamhead when they were teenagers, and I found that very insulting because, as a handsome man with not too much on my bonce, I do not need to be reminded by the nation.
Happy challenge.
That was a slight sort of stammer.
It wasn't
Hesitation.
Yes,
Stammer?
No.
I mean, I don't want to victimise a stammering person, but
I
it was a
haven't-
I think it was a hesitation that kind of disguised as a stammer.
Yeah, but I don't have a speech impediment.
No, that's what I meant when yes.
No. But actually, if I wasn't going to lie it last time when Graham challenged, I couldn't allow it when you challenged, because it wasn't quite a hesitation. He was...
Dear God, is this man unstoppable?
He was teetering, so benefit of the doubt, Charles. Keep going,
I'm going to
37.
be calling you Daddy quite soon, Nicholas. This is fantastic.
Hair loss starting now.
Hair loss is such a nuisance for women because we chaps wear...
Paul challenged.
Repetition of because.
Because, yes, you did say that before.
I did say that.
That's
before.
right. So Paul's got in on hair loss, with 32 seconds available, starting now.
Are you bald, or is your neck blowing bubble gum? This is one of the things that you can say to people who have no hair. Equally, when Charles goes to the barbers, they charge him a search fee. These are the many jokes that are aimed at people who have paints on the top of their head. Hair loss, who can...
Charles
That was
challenged.
a hesitation.
No, it wasn't.
Hair loss.
No, it wasn't it. But
No,
one
I
of them
gave you the benefit of the doubt before.
There
Benefit
wasn't
of the
one.
doubt goes to Paul on this occasion. 14 seconds, Paul. Hair loss starting now.
Many years ago, in the early 1970s, I thought for a while that I was going to be a victim of hair loss. I looked in the mirror one morning and I noticed that my golden locks were there lying on the pillow, and behind me was a hirsute man.
So Paul Merton was once again speaking as a whistle when gained that extra point. He's increased his lead. He's ahead of Shappi Khorsandi, Charles Collingwood and Graham Norton in that order. And Graham, we're back with you to begin the subject. The subject we've got now is superfoods. Can you tell us something about superfoods in this game starting now?
Superfoods are new. They're in the supermarkets, and they tend to be all berries and beans we've never heard of. Now, it strikes me, if they are truly superfoods, why haven't we heard of them?
Paul challenged.
A repetition of heard.
Yes, heard of them. But
What did
heard.
I?
Yes. Things at the beginning you said heard. Right. Well, listen, Paul, and there are 47 seconds. Superfoods starting now.
Chicago was on fire. What were they going to do? They called for Super Bap. Yes, half sandwich, half hero. This magnificent piece of bread sailed through the sky.
Shappi.
2 halves?
Half bread, half
Half
man.
bread, half hero, half bagel,
Yes, two halves.
Two
Oh,
halves.
two halves, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
two halves. Well, listen, Shappi. Another point to you, Shappi. 39 seconds available. Superfoods starting now.
I can't stand this new way they're trying to make you buy pomegranate seeds at about £1 million per packet, where in my day you used to...
Charles challenged.
I'm sorry, but they don't. It's not £1 million per packet. I know you tell me where you live, and if you're paying that sort of money, darling, move. Because they're cheap as chips pomegranates near me in Hampshire.
Charles,
So it was a sympathetic interruption.
No, it wasn't. It was an unnecessary
I
interruption.
thought it was... You don't think it was deviation?
No, she was speaking metaphorically. I think we all knew what she meant. I gave the benefit of doubt against Shappi to you last time. She has the benefit of the doubt on this occasion. She gets another point, keeps the subject. 31 seconds with you, Shappi, on superfoods starting now.
And the worst thing is, where I live, middle-class mothers fall for it. They buy loads of this ridiculous stuff that really, when all is said and done, is fruit that has been around in the Middle East for many, many, many years. Why did I do that? Why did I do that? Graham, why?
Sort of just a minute suicide.
One of the
You know, I
classic.
couldn't believe that I was getting quite far. I couldn't believe that I could actually hear my own voice.
And then you went into natural speech passions like very, very many, many. Right. Graham, well, listen, 18 seconds with you on superfoods starting now.
I put my lustrous hair down to my intake of superfoods, but then I was in a department store.
Paul challenged.
Isn't that a wig? That's not a wig. Shake vigorously from side to side.
You see?
Yeah, I was wrong. I just thought you wouldn't nobody get a haircut like that. I thought it had to be a wig.
No,
Right.
There was no time after the colouring.
Are you wearing a wig, Nicholas?
And what's that?
Are you thinking of having extensions? I'm still talking about your hair, by the way.
I've had all the other extensions, they failed. Oh, God.
I had alopecia once.
Did you?
Alopecia areata. There you go. I
didn't
Sounds
think
like a pasta dish.
It does.
That's part of the lyrics of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Right, I think we'll get back to playing just a minute. And the interruption came from you, Paul. We enjoyed the interruption, so you get a bonus point because the audience enjoyed it. But, Graham, you were interrupted. They were talking about your hair, your follicles of lustrous juvenile growth that you have. And you get a point because you were interrupted. 12 seconds, yes. 12 seconds available.
Am I still coming last?
No. Where are you? You're doing very...
Fourth. When that fifth person shows up, they're going to feel really stupid.
You're third. Anyway, you're third, right. And you have another, how many seconds was it? 12 seconds. It's still, believe me or not, superfoods starting now.
Superfoods, as hard to finish round on as they are to swallow. Yes, I think superfoods we know what they are. It's things like meat. That's a superfood. That's...
Paul challenged.
I don't know if meat is classified as a superfood. It's things like
is.
pomegranates and broccoli and things like that. These things
Meat's
are rich.
superfood.
It depends on your taste. Yes. To some people, meat could be superfood. To others, if you're a vegetarian, it's
It's about
anathema,
the
isn't it?
antioxidants, isn't it?
So I don't
Now
think...
you hush.
No, I don't think. A benefit of the doubt to Graham on this occasion.
See?
Another point to you, Graham, and 2 seconds on superfoods starting now.
Everyone knows superfoods are about...
Paul challenged.
Haven't we had everyone knows before?
I didn't say it.
No, you're right. It was something I saw on telly in 1968. I just stored it in my mind.
But, Graham, another point. One second. Superfoods starting now.
There's very little I don't know about.
So let me give you the score at the moment because we're moving into the final round. Well, it's a very interesting situation because Paul Merton is still in the lead. He's a few points ahead, but Graham Norton has leapt forward on his superfoods and other things, and he's now equal in second place with Shappi Khorsandi, and Charles Collingwood's only a few points behind as we go into the final round. And Paul, it's your turn to begin, and the subject is what I would play in an orchestra. Tell us something about that subject in this game, starting now.
If I had the chance to play in an orchestra, I would like to play the ukulele. It's an instrument that I'm recently trying to learn. It's a simple one. It has only 4 strings. Indeed, there are various bands around the country dedicated to this particular instrument. And I've said
Shappi challenged.
Instrument twice, yes.
Yes, the instrument I'd like to play, an instrument. Right. Shappi, well, listen, 46 seconds
is that not in the title of the...
No, what I would like to play in an orchestra.
Oh, right, yeah, sorry.
Not what instrument I'd like to play.
Yes.
Yes, that's instrumental. Sorry.
Right, Shappi. 46 seconds. What I would play in an orchestra starting now.
What I would play in an orchestra is probably the triangle. I believe it to be the least stressful of instruments. When I was at school, they used to always make me play the glockenspiel in an orchestra. That is no good because glockenspiels don't make sense.
Right, Graham
Glockenspiel.
I noticed the word glockenspiel. I don't want to be picky, but glockenspiel came up again.
Yes.
Yeah.
And 31 seconds are still available. Graham, what I would play in an orchestra starting now.
I would play the cello because I think the costume must be the most comfortable, quite tight in the neck. But after that, you can really relax if you're playing that instrument. However, in an orchestra, there's a wide range of things, isn't there? You could be a drum.
Oh, you challenged.
Well, there's a gradual slowing down,
But I never stopped.
which I thought might be hesitation.
It might be, but we've had a bit of slowing down from everybody, except you, actually. So I don't know what to do as the final round. He did slow down, but he didn't actually hesitate, did he?
Okay.
So, all right, benefit of the doubt to Graham on this occasion. 11 seconds, what I would play in an orchestra. Graham, starting now.
What I would play in the orchestra is the piano, because actually
Paul, challenge.
Deviation. He just told us he played the cello. And now he's telling us to play the piano. How many hands has he got?
I changed my mind.
Change his mind.
Yes, but I now think, as I gave you the benefit of the doubt...
Oh, no, wait, you're not allowed to change your mind in just a minute.
Well, it's a difficult one, because...
No, it's not.
You couldn't play both of them in an orchestra.
I could if I changed my mind. If I said, oi, gone off the cello thing, give me that piano costume. I'll sling it on. I'll put my shoes in the pedals and I'm off.
If you said the other instrument I play, then that would be all right.
No, I changed my mind. I don't want to play the cello. I'd hate to play the cello now.
Well, that's deviation.
But
You
Graham,
said you'd love to play it.
in order to justify this, because I gave you the benefit of the doubt before, and I think it's only fair to give it to Paul, is that you should have said, I've changed my mind.
I felt this thinking audience could reach that conclusion by themselves.
Did you perhaps perform in two different orchestras?
That's an interesting point. I'll put it to you, Paul. I'm performing to two different orchestras. I'm losing this, aren't I? I'm losing it.
I think it was a deviation within the rules or the spirit of the game of Just a Minute.
I've been awful. I've behaved terribly.
No, you haven't. We've thoroughly enjoyed it, and the more argumentative you become, the funnier you become. And as I've given you two benefits of the doubt, Paul hasn't had one. We're reaching the end of the show. Paul, you have the benefit of the doubt. You have the subject. What I would play in an orchestra, 7 seconds, starting now.
I've changed my mind. I now want to play the glockenspiel, harpsichord, piano, organ, any keyboard instrument. I'd be happy.
So let me give you the final score, which was brought to the close with a flourish there. Charles Collingwood, who hasn't played as much as some of the others, came in a very commanding 4th place. And Shappi Khorsandi, who's only played twice before, but she was in a very strong 3rd place and did extremely well. She was only 1 point behind Graham Norton, who was in an excellent 2nd place. But out in the lead was Paul Merton with more points than anyone else. So we say, Paul, this week, you are our winner. Thank you. It only remains for me to say thank you to the 4 fine players of the game, Paul Merton, Charles Collingwood, Shappi Khorsandi, and Graham Norton. I think Sarah Sharp, who's helped me with the score, blown her whistle sometimes with great aplomb, and... you did it very well, Diane, don't worry. We thank our producer, Claire Jones. We're indebted to Ian Messiter, who created this surprisingly amazing game. And we're grateful to this lovely audience here at the Radio Theatre in Broadcasting House for cheering us on our way. From our audience, from me, Nicholas Parsons, and the team, goodbye. Tune in the next time you hear Just a Minute.